So we have built this pagination component, but we have an issue here. Currently, we're assuming that the consumer of this component is going to pass these props. What if we forget to pass one of these props or pass the wrong type of value? For example, for items count, what if we pass a string like A, B, C? Let's see what happens. We get only a single page, whereas we have 9 movies in the database. This is how we create bugs in our application. Also, if you look at the console, there are no errors here. So in situations like this, we have to go back and forth between different parts of the code to figure out what we did wrong. To prevent issues like this, we need to do type checking. Now in React, we used to have type checking internally as part of the React library, but starting from version 15, this has moved to a different package that we need to install separately. So open up the terminal and install prop-types. The version I'm going to use is 15.6.2. All right, now back in our pagination component. On the top, we need to import PropTypes from this new PropTypes module. Now, after we define our component, we need to add a new property to it. And with this property, we'll define the type checking requirements for this component. So after we define pagination, we add a new property to it, PropTypes. Make sure to spell it properly. And here, P should be lowercase and T should be uppercase. So that's the camel notation. If you don't get this right, type checking is not going to work. So we set this to a new object. And in this object, we'll add the props for our component, as well as their types and whether they're required or not. So what are the props here? Let's go to the top. On line 6, where we are using object destructuring, so we have 4 props in this component. I'm going to copy these props. Now, back in our PropTypes object, paste them here. I'm going to give each property a value like this. PropTypes dot. Here we have different validators like number to indicate that items count should be a number. We also have string, boolean, array, object, function, and so on. To see the complete list of prop types, go to reactjs.org. Under documentation, under advanced guides, if you scroll down, you should see type checking with prop types. On this page, you should see a comprehensive list of all prop types that are available to you. Now back to our code. So we set items count to a number. We can also chain is required to make sure that the consumer of the pagination component will pass this prop. You will see that in a second. Similarly, let's set page size to prop types the number dot is required. Also, current page should be a required number. So prop types the number dot is required. And finally, on page change, this should be a function. So we set this to prop types dot func dot is required. Now with this, since we have passed a string for items count, we're going to see a warning in our console. So back in the browser, all right, look, we've got a warning. This will only pop up in the development mode. So when you deploy your application, you're not going to see this. So the warning says failed prop type, invalid prop items count of type string, expected number. Similarly, if you forget to pass a prop, we're going to see a different error message. So as you build components, especially reusable components, it's a good practice to use prop types to catch bugs related to type checking. This will also give some kind of documentation to your component. So whenever you want to use a reusable component, you don't have to look at its render method to figure out what props you should give to this component. You can simply look at the prop types to figure out all the props, their type, and whether they're required or optional.